Welcome to Talking Reds. It is Friday night. That means one thing and one thing only. It is Redszone, where we discuss the latest in Liverpool news for the whole week, what has happened this week, what has gone down, and there's a lot has gone down since the start of the week. Alexander Isak publicly outed Newcastle on PFA Awards night. Then Newcastle responded saying that Isak is lying. However, today brings more surprises on that story, on that saga. Eddie Howe speaks about the situation. He actually confirmed that they did have conversations about his future before the end of the season. So does that mean that Newcastle were lying? Does that mean Newcastle were lying the other night when they called Isak a liar about it? We're going to get into that. We're going to get into more as well. What I've been linked with as well. We've been linked with Michael Olise today to potentially place Mohamed Salah, and also the Rodrygo news that came out earlier on in the week. Make sure you do hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new for all your latest Liverpool news, all your Liverpool content that you could physically ask for. Talking Reds is the channel for you, so make sure you do subscribe to the channel for that. And get your chat in as well on the live chat. Get your comments in. I'll bring them up on the screen. Good evening, Daniel. Good evening, Adam. Good evening, Mark. How are you three doing this evening? Hope you're all well. Certainly better right now than the Newcastle fans going on about. So let's start with what Eddie Howe said today. Me and Alex had conversations towards the end of the season. Yes, I am not going to sit here and deny that. Yes, we had discussions about his future. So it doesn't say what the conversations were about. It did say, no, I'm going to keep them private. And fair, that's what you got to do at the end of the day. He's not going to... If it means exposing the club and damaging the club's reputation, Eddie Howe's not going to come out and tell you the truth about the conversations. He's not going to come out and tell us what the conversations are about. It just said, basically, he's admitted that there were conversations between him and Isak towards the end of the season. Isak has actually said that, the conversations that I had were promises that were made, promises that were broken, about him potentially leaving as well. So, and to me, him coming out and saying that conversation was happened, and Newcastle saying that promises weren't broken, nothing was ever promised with Isak. I'm going towards the line of Newcastle line out their backsides. Exactly what I said the other night. That's what it's looking right now. We're not going to hear the truth until, a little bit further down the line. Eddie Howe might speak about it later on in life, but he's not going to speak about the truth whilst he's Newcastle manager. He's not going to do that. At the end of the day, especially if it looks bad on Newcastle, Eddie Howe's not going to come out and tell us exactly what was said, because if it turns around that Newcastle have lied at the backside, it only looks worse for them. And he's, like I said, he's their manager. He's trying to keep everything sweet right now. But he's already spoken about this, hasn't he, Eddie Howe? He said, look, I understand that players have short careers, and he understands that Isak's frustrated, but obviously still wants him to be a Newcastle player, and he is looking at hopefully him staying. However, that is not looking likely at all after this week. It really isn't. And I think if any Newcastle fan out there saying, "Oh, I think he's going to," I honestly think he's going to stay because Newcastle putting the foot down. I think they're really trying to make something out of nothing there, because at the end of the day, whether he stays or not, you've got a player that doesn't want to be there. It's as simple as that. He does not want to be there, and we've seen it over and over again. When a player doesn't want to be somewhere, it's very rare they stay at that club. Very rare they stay at that club. It shows Newcastle lied. Isak was telling the truth. He's a prisoner now. Release him. I won't go that far though, Mark. But I won't go that far. But yeah, I do think they've lied out the backsides, and I do think, like I'll always say it though, I do think Isak's gone about it the wrong way. But like I said, there's something. I said it the other night. There's something that's made Isak react like this. This isn't come from nothing. He hasn't just overnight said, "Oh, fuck Newcastle." He hasn't said that overnight. He loved the club. So something's happened in that time period. It doesn't mean Newcastle are lying, nor does it mean Isak is lying. It's just very messy. Yeah, I agree with that, Adam. It doesn't mean anything, really. But, however, I'm leaning towards Newcastle lying because there has been conversations. And I think in those conversations, it's quite clear to me that Isak has told Eddie Howe and Newcastle itself, the club itself, that he wants to go this summer. And when he has said that, and that seems true, I'm going to believe him on the situation where he says there's also been promises being broken as well. The old Newcastle streams have been a bit silent on this. It doesn't surprise me at all. Good evening, Damon. You never walk alone. Good evening, Prakash. How are you doing this evening? But yeah, it seems very, very quiet in the black and white northeast part of the world. Sunderland fans are loud. So it's not just northeast as a whole. The red and white side of northeast is very, very loud, but the black and white side of northeast is very, very quiet right now, and there's a very, very good reason for that. They are starting to realise, hang on a second, maybe Newcastle have made us look like fools, and I feel sorry for Newcastle. Certain Newcastle fans. I feel sorry for like a Pete, for example, that came on the other night from Load of Mag. I feel sorry for someone like him as a genuine, down-to-earth person that deserves better. But I don't feel sorry for those that thrown abuse out there and that fuck them. But yeah, I do feel sorry for some Newcastle fans that, you know, they want they want the conclusion, and if Isak leaves, that's a conclusion. They want this just to be put to bed at this point. It's you know, like Pete said the other night, it's probably getting boring for them. But they also want to know the truth. At the end of the day, if Isak is telling the truth here, yeah, and he's under contract, he should have gone things about differently, and we can discuss that. But is he lying? And if it's the club lying, then not only are they lying about Isak and making him look bad, they're lying to the fans. The fans deserve the truth here. And the truth will come out. I said it before. The truth will come out. Isak will be willing to do nicely. He's been forced to do it ugly. At the start of summer, I'm sure Isak's agent said he had texts and emails about this. That would be very interesting, Tony. And again, if that is actually happened, if that has actually happened with the texts and the emails of confirming he can go, and they'll get replacements in and stuff, then that will probably be leaked at some point. But obviously, it can't be leaked right now because he's still, like I said, on the contract. You don't want to go against, you know, they can get really done and legality, that sort of side of things. But it could be released soon. The Maccabees will be very happy. I mean, they're absolutely delighted. Sunderland fans must be absolutely delighted what's going on. 3-0 win in the opening day. Newcastle crying. Newcastle struggling without a striker. And then they're watching what's going on right now. Newcastle's struggling to get players as well. So, but yeah, there were talks about earlier as well about Newcastle pushing to get Jackson over the line from Chelsea as well. That died down. It was me and Pete talked about it midweek. That died down. They're looking at Larson. That doesn't seem to be going anywhere because Wolves don't look like they're even listening to about Larson. Wissa, we don't know what's going on with Wissa at the moment. Clearly wants Newcastle. Brentford want the Tottenham move, but that's up in the air right now. But I do think right now that it's a very interesting situation, and especially what happened midweek. What happened on the PFA Awards night when Isak put out his social media post? Newcastle responded. That has blown everything into the air. That has basically gone, okay, there might be a slight chance Isak coming back here. There might be something to rebuild on this. That night alone, Isak putting that out, then Newcastle responding and calling him a liar. That is basically done for me. The whole situation right now between Newcastle and Isak is done for me. I don't even care if Howe said he wants him back. I don't care about the statement saying that I'll welcome him back. It's absolutely done. It's absolutely broken. There's no way back for Isak for me. And whether he stays for the rest of the season, he's not going to play properly. If he does play, I can't even see him playing. I really can't see him playing. Newcastle did the dirty on him, and I believe Howe spoke with Isak about Isak wanting to leave. Isak and his camp have to do this very carefully. One mistake and the deal is off. Exactly, Dan. That's what I'm thinking regarding putting things out there. Jackson's been linked with Arsenal now. Said Adam, Arsenal ain't going to go for Jackson. There's not a chance. I'll say that now. And he said that here. Howe spoke about Isak wanting to leave. When Howe, the weekend we saw him miss the Celtic game due to injury, Eddie Howe spoke about this. He spoke about this, and he revealed that he understands. He has spoken to Isak, and he understands that a player has a short career. That, to me, you got to read in between the lines. He didn't say directly that Isak's told him to want to go. But if you go back to our streams that weekend, that coming after the weekend as well, I said on that stream, he's told Eddie Howe wants to go. He's told Eddie Howe, and they've sort of spoken about him leaving because he said, look, a player's career short. I understand the player's career short. He would not say that without a discussion of him leaving. I said that weeks ago. Sometimes you've got to look between the lines. So he has had that conversation with Eddie Howe. He has told him he wants to go. Whether it's been promised that he can go, that is yet to be revealed. But right now, he's actually told nothing but the truth and everything else. So why wouldn't I believe him on the broken promises as well? Because right now, Newcastle have lied out their backsides regarding the conversations. So let's see. Let's see how it all breaks down. But Newcastle need to go get their players. It's as simple as that. If they want to continue in the season, they ain't going to keep Isak regardless. I don't think they're keeping Isak regardless. And even if they are keeping him, he's not going to be the same player. They still need to bring some players in. So Alexander Isak was talked about earlier on. Atletico Madrid had a brilliant season last season with Atletico Madrid. Stan Larsen, Wolves do not want to sell on that. So right now, I think the likelihood of two strikers for Newcastle would be between three players right now. The three players, and I think the most likely outcome would be Wissa and Jackson for me. And I think then Salah could be the third player that's involved in the mix. I don't think the Jürgen Strand Larsen link right now is as solid as Newcastle fans would like it to be. I just don't think the Wolves are even listening to it because they've just lost Cunha. You've got to expect, they're trying to keep their players as well at the same time. And I don't think Newcastle will go fully out to upset Wolves to get him. I think they will look on to a Jackson. They will look on to a Salah. Do you think Isak is still coming, James? Do I think Isak's still coming? I'm going to say yes. I've been up and down on this. I've been majority yes most of the time. It was like just a dream signing at first, but then once it started heating up, I started thinking, yes, it actually can happen. I'm still leaning on the side of yes because of how broken that relationship is and how I can't see anywhere back. Do I think we're going to pay 150 million? No. That's an easy question for me. We're not going to pay 150 million. I think if Newcastle can get their players in, if they get a Jackson in, if they get a Wissa in, I think we get that green light for Isak, and I think we pay 130 million. That's what I think we'll pay for him. So I'm right now, as of this day, 22nd of August. So we are 9 days away from 10 days away, basically from the transfer window ending on the 1st September. I think Liverpool will still get Isak right now. I want to say I'm about 60% sure, maybe even more, but that's what I think anyway. Tuesday, Wednesday next week after the match, I think the offer goes in, says Mark. I think there will be talks. I think over the weekend, you might see more movements on Newcastle as well. Where did the £250 million come from? I've never seen. Did I say 250? I didn't say 250, did I? So I'm sure I said 150. It's 150 million, Tony. How do you think Gahey will be a Liverpool player by the end of the window? And again, like Isak, I do believe that could be very much possible. I am leaning on the side of Gahey being a signing for Liverpool as well because we saw Steve Parish, who was the co-owner of Palace and also the chairman. He said the other week that he doesn't want basically Gahey to go for free next season. So if that's not the case, he's either going to sell him this summer or he signs a new contract. And I can't sit here right now and say Gahey will sign a new contract. So the only alternative to that, to what Steve Parish said, is that he will probably be sold this summer. Because I don't think he's going to sign a new contract. But they do need the money. They need the money. Put £45 million price tag on Gahey. We want to offer 35 million. I think, again, we meet in the middle at 40 million. This one, can it go on for the rest of the transfer window potential? Well, it's only 10 days left now, so I think the longer it goes on, I've said it many times actually about Gahey, the longer it goes on, I do believe the more chance Liverpool get him for a cheaper price. That's what I think. No way he stays at Newcastle, says James. Absolutely. Yeah, it's 150 million, Tony. That's what the asking price is. It always has been 150 million. I think in fact, Pete said it the other night. It's always been 150 million. Even when Arsenal was in for Isak, it's always been 150 million, none less. But I do think they're going to get it down because they've had, I think once Newcastle get their signings in, a Wissa or a Jackson, something like that, I think they do open that door for Isak and say, look, we just need to end this now. I think Isak joins sooner rather than Gahey, says Daniel. Evening, what's going on now, Jen? Good question. What is going on now? So basically, Jen, I'll wrap it up for what was happened earlier. So regarding Isak and regarding Eddie Howe today. Eddie Howe has actually confirmed that they did have good discussions between him and Isak himself towards the end of the season. Eddie Howe said, look, I'm not going to reveal what was spoken in those conversations. And that, to me, says that if he does reveal what was said in those conversations, it would expose Newcastle of being lying as liars. So, and Eddie Howe would not expose Newcastle like that. He would not say what was said in that conversation if it looks bad on Newcastle. Why would he? He's Newcastle manager. He's got to keep everything sweet. He's got to keep everything happy. But we said it previously when Eddie Howe first spoke about this on the weekend when he went in the Celtic game. He said, "I understand the player has a short career." This is what he said. So I said many, many times in that weekend, which was weeks ago. Was it months ago that the Celtic won? Maybe 2 months ago. Was it June or was it July? It was over a month ago anyway. Over a month ago that, and I said that after that, that what Eddie Howe said, I said there must have been a conversation of Isak leaving because he wouldn't say about the player's career being short. He wouldn't. There's no way he would have. So I think Isak, from what I've seen right now, and the fallout from this since midweek, it's looking more like Isak's telling the truth more than anyone else. So I'm going to believe him on the fact that the broken promises and potentially leaving this summer could have been broken as well. Do we still allow Ebon not to sign and stay for the season? Said Jennifer. Good question, Jennifer. Good question. I'm mixed on that. Like we probably do need Konate. If we get Gehi, then no. If we get Gehi, right, then if Ubu wants to leave, he either leaves for me or he gets signed on to a new contract. A bit like I don't want to lose another player for free. But as of right now, because we ain't got Mark Gehi in, then we might have no choice but to keep Konate just for simply having someone there because we don't really have anyone there. Leon is coming, young lad, obviously to back up Van Dijk. Gomez is out too much, so we haven't got anyone else reliable to go there. So if we sign Gehi though, then maybe you need to sign, or are you going now? And there was a possibility. There was a report like end of last week, that there was a possibility of Ibu potentially going this summer. I can't still see it because it's going late in the, like I said, 10 days left of the transfer window. If we let Ibu go now, it's panic stations a little bit, especially when we got Gehi through the door as well. Newcastle linked with Salah from Atletico. Yes, yep, they absolutely are. Jackson and Salah and Wissa, I think the three main strikers I think Newcastle are looking at right now and that are potentially likely. My two, I think Newcastle get, if they get anyone, this is Newcastle here. This is Newcastle and strikers here. They've been trying all summer to get a striker, at least one, and they've got none through the door. So the two I think they could get for me would be Wissa and Jackson, personally. Who is your team for Monday night? I'll go over that, actually, David. Good question. I'll keep that in mind, David. What is your team for Monday night? I'll go towards the end. We'll talk about the game towards the end. We need to end this saga right now, said Jen. We absolutely do. I mean, Pete said the other night it's boring for him. It actually is quite boring now, and it is going on. I hope we haven't wasted our time, because if we have sat all summer waiting for this player, for Isak, and it doesn't come to fruition, right, and we haven't moved on to another player, and we don't address that as foul position, then I'll be pissed off. I'm pissed off. This has happened too many times in the last 5 to 10 years, where we sat and waited for one player and we've gone into the season short. And it happened again before when we waited for Konate. I get we waited for Van Dijk, and we got him in January, but we waited for Konate for another year. And that season we absolutely struggled in defence. Yes, we can wait for Konate, but we still should have got a defender in the meantime. Yes, we can wait for Isak, but we still need another forward in the meantime. We ain't got the numbers there. As soon as next morning we put a bid in, is that Tuesday morning, Daniel, I presume, after the game? As soon as the game ends on Newcastle, the bid better go in the next morning. Yeah, in fact, you know what? When it's full time, just say the bid goes in straight at full time. So we are right all along. Newcastle for shame. Exactly, shame on Newcastle, because if they're doing this to Isak, right, and they've lied about him right now, and they've told him he's a liar, what is going on? That's not good. That's not good at all. It's not good at all. And I've said, look, human beings are human beings. Alexander Isak has reacted to something. Alexander Isak have reacted to something massively. He has reacted to something. He hasn't just he absolutely loved Newcastle. He wanted to stay there. He doesn't just overnight say, "Nah, forget Newcastle," and goes AWOL for nothing. He doesn't do it. We can't allow another situation. We cannot do that. We cannot do that. Do you think Rodrygo will come? Said David. I sort of ruled Rodrygo out a couple of weeks ago, but then obviously we saw another report this week. I don't think he still comes. I don't think he comes personally. I don't think he leaves Real Madrid. If I've always said all along, look, if Real Madrid show a little bit of a sniff that he 1 second, just gonna check something. If he shows a little, if Real Madrid show a little sniff of wanting to keep Rodrygo, I think Rodrygo stays at Real Madrid. So that's what he wants anyway. I do think Gehi signing is most important at this point. Joe missed a part of training again this week. We've got no right back coming into this weekend. Maybe Joe Gomez might, but he got forced into training. Didn't get free games in. Gehi needs to be done for me, certainly. Just going to get through more of this. What if we don't sign Isak? What is the plan? Said Brad Pitt fan. Exactly. I mean, what is the plan? We can't sit here and wait for Isak and not go get someone else if he doesn't come. We can't, because we're short. It's a simple. We've got one striker. We've got two left wingers. One being a 16-year-old lad, which is not fair on him to be fully that. I don't mind him being back up to Gakpo, because I want to. In fact, I think he can even do better than Gakpo this season, if I'm honest. Even though he is 16, but it's still unfair to just shove him straight in the deep end like that. Isak can come back on the Liverpool bus, said Adam. That would be hilarious. Imagine him announcing him at half time. No Isak, no other clubs say. Mark, yeah, that is a big mistake. If we don't get Isak and we don't get anyone else, that is a big spit in the face. And I think it's a big spit in the face of the rest of the transfers we've just done. It turns a very good transfer window into one that's a good transfer window. It leaves us very, very short. And it tells you that, for me, that's not good enough. I'm not going to sit here and just and gaslight you guys. I'm not going to sit here and gaslight you and say, "Oh, it's okay. We've had brilliant signings. We don't need any more signings. The club know what they're doing. Blah 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 blah." I'm not going to gaslight you. If we don't get Isak, if we stand here and don't get anyone else, then that's simply not fucking good enough. It's as simple as that for me. Do you want to retain this title or not? Because you're not showing me the seriousness there. We can get Isak next season, fair enough, but we still need another forward. We are short there. We need to get forwards. Not much time left in the window to buy someone. Not much time left at all. 10 days left of the transfer window. Talk about Nello being right back. Is that what let's talk about now, Adam? Not seen that, actually. It'd be very interesting. The only one for me, the only one I don't mind seeing out of position as a right back. I don't want to see, if I see Endo tomorrow on Monday night at right back, and I'm doing a watch along, I'll be watching it with behind my hands. And I do apologise for everyone watching the watch along, but I'm watching it behind my hands. I'm not watching a full 90 minutes at Endo right back. Curtis Jones played right back, doesn't he? I don't see that. I don't want to see that, to be honest. The only one for me that has to play out position to play right back, and I'd be like, okay, I'm not worried as much, would be Szoboszlai, because of his legs and his energy. You need someone with legs. You need someone with energy, up and down the right back position. And I think Sobo could do that for a game. I don't want to see him there a long time at all. I don't want to see. I don't want it to be an option. But like I said, it's his last resort. And right now, a last resort is all we've got, because we've got no Bradley. Gomez has just come back basically, and no Frimpong. So right now, I won't mind seeing Szoboszlai there, but I still think Gomez might play there anyway. And we need to have a plan B if we don't get Isak. End off, said Jen. Absolutely, we do. Guys in the chat, who do you think that Newcastle could get? There's not many options left for Newcastle. Not many options. And who would your plan B be if we don't get Isak? Who would your plan B be? Because the only ones we've been really linked to is Rodrygo and Fofana. I saw Alvarez the other night want a proper link report, but I won't mind Alvarez. I've said it before. Alvarez is probably the next best situation after Isak for me. Can play along the front line. but I can't see anyone else out there that Rodrygo. If we'd have to push hard for Rodrygo, we'd have to really push hard. We'd have to push now for me if we're going to get Rodrygo. Bradley has started training this week. He did start training this week, but I don't think he'll have enough training behind his belt. Is Conor Bradley fit, and what about Butetić? Nothing's been said about Butetić. There were actually talks about Butetić going back out on loan again, which made no sense. I'm sure Butetić is supposed to be like the Gravenberch backup. So that Gravenberch backup is going to be is poor. Fofana or Barella? Barella, what the midfielder, Jen? Fofana, yeah. I mean, Fofana. I mean, that's sort of gone off the boil as well. That sort of talk of Fofana has gone off the boil. It came out that 1 week, didn't it? But since then, it's not come out at all, really. Right. There also talks about. It talks about Morgan Rodgers. I'm a big fan of Morgan Rodgers. Big fan of Morgan Rodgers. But I don't see Liverpool going for Morgan Rodgers because we've got Wirtz at 10. I know he could play out wide as well, but I don't think he'd really fit into Liverpool right now. He can play at left. Like I said, he can play left. He probably can play right. Morgan Rodgers, very, very good player. Very technically gifted. Can probably adapt. He has adapted to a few positions before, but for me, he is more of a 10, I'd say. So I wouldn't really be looking too much at Morgan Rodgers right now because we have got a certain number 10 already there in Florian Wirtz. But yeah, regarding the link to Michael Olise, this is what I want to talk about. Michael Olise. So there was reports and rumours earlier on about Michael Olise being viewed as the ideal Mohamed Salah replacement for Liverpool. And we do need to look at the Mohamed Salah replacement at some point. Because if Salah does move on, which I expect him to after his 2 years contract has gone, I do expect him to go to Saudi at some point, Mohamed Salah, and finish his career there. And he deserves that massively. And I think it'd be an absolute coup from Saudi to get Mohamed Salah. I don't know which team will get him, but it'd be a coup just for the country in the league to get Mohamed Salah. So I think that'll happen at some point. But we need to look at Mohamed Salah replacement at least maybe this season. Not bring him in this season, but starting looking at it now. Because next summer is where you start possibly looking at bringing him in. And Michael Olise, if we got a Michael Olise right, that would be a sensational coup. It would be unbelievable. I absolutely love Michael Olise. Fantastic at Palace, and since he's gone to Bayern, he's got even better. Like that was one of. By the way, that signing for Bayern Munich has gone under the radar, and I think when I spoke about Ballon d'Or. You remember when the Ballon d'Or lists were coming out, and I did a Ballon d'Or stream, and I'm sure I said Michael Olise for me is going under the radar right now because he's been sensational for Bayern Munich. In fact, for me, he could have been easily Bayern Munich's best player last season. So if we were to get Michael Olise to get him to replace Salah, that is perfect for me. And I said it before, you're not going to get a Salah. You're not going to get a right winger that's going to score those sort of goals again. It's the very rare players like Salah. What we need is a striker that scores those goals. Isak. And then you place Salah as a position. So you place him like a Michael Olise. Michael Olise with Isak up front and Gakpo on the left would be a brilliant front three. Or if it's not a Gakpo, a Rodrygo on the left would be an exceptional front three. Or, in fact, by the time Salah goes, Rio Ngamoa could be the left winger, couldn't he? Rio Ngamoa, Michael Olise, Isak as your front three. That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. So yeah, I absolutely love these links to Michael Olise, and if they are true, then I'm absolutely backing that to the moon because I think it'd be a sensational signing. Isak, Rodrygo Gay by the end of the transfer window. Dave, you must be very optimistic for that. That is a big dream if that were to happen. But yeah, it's a very. I think it's only a dream, mate. I do. They should start with Joe Gomez as right back and take him off to 2 minutes, put Bradley on for the last 20. I think that could be the case, David. I do think Joe Gomez does start, but how fit he is, I don't know. But I think he does start. Olise has a release clause in his contract which comes to end next year. That makes absolute sense then, Jen, if that's the truth. Saka next year, said Adam. You know what, Adam? You know what? About 5 years ago, was it 4 years ago? It was before Arsenal became like challenging for titles because they are good now. They're a good team, Arsenal. They get a lot of stake, certain winning thing, but they are a good team. They are challenging for titles, which they weren't before. When they weren't challenging for titles, I said I'd love Saka to be Salah's backup and eventually take over Salah. Saka is one of the most disrespected players in world football. And it's because he plays for Arsenal for me. I think it's because he plays for Arsenal. He gets a lot of stick, but he's fucking brilliant. And I've always said to my mate, one of my mates is an Arsenal fan. I've always said to him, look, what do I think of Saka? I said, well, I think he's bordering world class, but he needs to start doing Champions League. And then he started to do it in Champions League, started playing well in Champions League. And I just thought, yeah, Saka's every time we play Saka, I can't stand playing him. And that's when I know that there's a world-class player there. Because when we play them, I fear them. Saka's one of them. Players before that, Aguero, I fear playing Aguero. Drogba, fear playing Drogba. Saka's another one. I fear playing Saka. He's a fantastic player that plays very, very good against us constantly. If Semenyo kicks on next season, see him replacing Mo, good. That's a good shout. Semenyo's a good shout. I still think Olise is better. If I had to choose between Olise and Semenyo, I would choose Olise. But I do like Antoine Semenyo. I think he's a fantastic player. We saw the other night how good he is. He's such a direct player. Nala is at centre back, not a right back, but he could probably play right back, but I won't put him there. It's because he doesn't win anything. Arsenal. He doesn't. That's what I'm saying. But I think there's a few. I think there's a few Arsenal fans, Arsenal players that get disrespected because they're playing for Arsenal. They've got jigsaw pieces missing. I think Arteta's a bit to blame of what's gone on. Arsenal not winning anything. They needed a striker last season. They didn't get a striker in the summer, and it cost them big time. But like I said, Declan Rice and Saka and Saliba and Gabriel, unbelievable players. Unbelievable players. Gabriel is world class. I think Saliba is going to push on to world class. He's still only young. I think Declan Rice is world class. I'll be honest. Declan Rice. I was shouting about Declan Rice years ago when he was at West Ham. I thought I'd love Liverpool to get someone like a Declan Rice and put him at 8. This is when he was a 6 at West Ham. When he was a 6 at West Ham, I was at LC Transfer Room. Did a stream on LC Transfer Room, and we'll talk about who shall we get. I said I won't mind getting Declan Rice and use him as a number 8. For me, he offers more than just a number 6. He can do box to box. And then Arsenal signed him, and now he's one of the best 8s in the world. He's unbelievable. But yeah, I think a lot of them do get a lot of stake because it's Arsenal. But you'll get that in every fan base, mate. You'll get that in every fan base. And there's so many fans in each fan base that are so biased towards their club. They cannot admit another player's good. They cannot admit another team's player's good. Another team's being good. But they have the different narrative for their own players. You saw it last weekend. Wirtz had a poor game. Kirk has had a poor game, and all I saw Liverpool fans doing on Sunday is like, "Oh, Gyökeres is shit. Gyökeres is shit. What a waste of money." That's all I saw. But then they were quiet about our debutants in Kirkers and Wirtz, who were poor. You've got to. For me, I'll keep it straight. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I'll keep it straight, whatever. Whether it's negative or positive on our behalf, I'll be truthful. I think being truthful is better than being toxically positive or toxically negative. I'll be truthful. At some point, Saka and Saliba will have to question Arsenal's ambition. Yeah, well, I think this season they absolutely need to win something, don't they, Arsenal? Something big. Because I can see Saka staying, if I'm honest. I can see Saka staying, but Saliba, Real Madrid are going to come in out there. They're going to come in, especially if we keep Konate, which we could do. If we keep Konate, I think they'd be looking at Saliba. I'm surprised they're not looking at Saliba now, if I'm honest. Free Isak said junk figure. It's free Isak. I'll be very surprised if I didn't see free Isak banners on Monday night in the Red End. I'll be very surprised if I didn't see that. So yeah, let's talk about that game on Monday night. I'm actually going to cover a little bit on the weekend's games as a whole, as well, the Premiership games as a whole, because at some point this season, hopefully the next couple of weeks, when I get time, I'm going to start doing my Premier League predictions again, which I did last season. I enjoyed doing the Premier League predictions, so I might sneak them into tonight's Red Zone just a little bit towards the end. Arsenal will have a big decision next day. Saka will have 2 years left, so will Saliba. Also have 2 years left next season. It is to make or break for Arsenal this year. I won't say it's make or break for Arsenal. It's make or break for Arteta. Definitely. He has to do something. Arsenal I think they'll survive without Arteta going there. It might even get better if someone takes over and has that winning pedigree already there. So, but I think it is make or break though for Mikel Arteta. Absolutely. So Monday's game, guys. Monday's game, it is going to be an absolute storm. And whilst you are here, make sure you do hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done already. And a quick advertisement for Monday. Our first watch along on Talking Reds will be Monday night, Newcastle Liverpool. What a stormer of a game to start us off with our watch alongs. Newcastle United at home to Liverpool, the Isak derby. This will be feisty. This will be hostile. This will be entertaining. It will be full of drama. And I cannot wait to watch it along with you guys. I cannot wait to get on this screen and watch that game as we do our first watch along on Talking Reds. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see what your thoughts are. I'm so excited to just get involved whilst the game is on with you guys. So yeah, make sure you do join us Monday night. You will not be disappointed with our watch along on Monday night. But yeah, regarding the game though, who said it earlier? Was it David that said it earlier? Let's get it back up 1 second. 1 second, guys. I'll go back. Was it David? David, I'm sure it was you. There we go, David. It was David. There we go. Who's your team for Monday night? My team for Monday night. So I'm going to give you what I would do Monday night with my team. We'll talk about it more in depth on Sunday night. We'll do a match preview Sunday night, or that might be going on Monday. But no, I think we'll do it Sunday night, match preview Sunday night. So we'll go more in depth on Sunday night. But Alisson Becker obviously in net. There's no point in talking about that. If we're really pushing Gomez, despite him not being fit, and we're pushing him in, I'd rather see Szoboszlai at right back. However, if it's Gomez, I'm happy with Gomez there. So, for argument's sake, let's put Gomez at right back. Konate, Van Dijk, and Kerkez. Midfield. This is the one where I'm thinking, what do I do here? What would I do? And I said the other night, one thing that scares me about Newcastle is their physicality, especially at midfield. It is a fucking good midfield, very good midfield. Tonali, Gomes, and Joe Linton. 3 physical, very technically good players as well, not just physicality. They will try bully that midfield. And if we lose that physicality battle in that midfield, then we could lose that game. So, and I can't quite believe I'm even thinking about dropping Florian Wirtz, because Florian Wirtz is an unbelievable player and will be unbelievable for the rest of the season. But based on this game, I would honestly drop Florian Wirtz. And I'm saying that with like gritted teeth. I'm just thinking about this game and this game alone. I'd bring Florian Wirtz on quite early in the second half. Maybe that 60th minute, something like that, 55th minute, when that midfield is tiring a little bit. I'm just so focused on how physical they are in midfield. I think we need Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, and McAllister there. 3 strong 8s together and try not match them physicality. I don't think we'll match them, but try and work with their physicality. And then when the time is right, Florian Wirtz gets released. He gets released. Enjoy it. And I think he'll pick up much more pockets of space in the second half. Fully ready. He's had a full game, a full half out. That second half, we can unleash Florian Wirtz. The players' legs will get more tired. They'll be picking up more pockets. If it started from the beginning, Florian Wirtz, he could be part of that game where he gets pushed around a little bit. Because he got pushed off the ball a few times last week against Bournemouth. And they're not as combative as the Newcastle players in midfield. So, and I can see if Florian Wirtz does play, I can see them saying Joe Linton stick on him. And he'll run through him. But I trust Florian Wirtz to technically outplay these players. I've said it before, look, Florian Wirtz is a step ahead of everyone else. His movements against Bournemouth shows exactly why we bought him. This guy can find space under the sink. He's such a brilliant, tricky player, such an intelligent player. He will find those spaces. But when they have a midfield like that with Joe Linton in there, they could easily stick Joe Linton on him and say, man, mark him. And he'll follow him around. He'll follow him around everywhere, and it'll be hard to get away from him. So for me personally, I'd be happy if Flying Verts plays, I'm happy because it's Flying Verts is absolutely sensational. But for me personally, I'm thinking about that game specifically and that midfield. I would go Gravenberch, McAllister, Szoboszlai. Personally, if Florian Wirtz hit the ground running last week and he was fantastic on the ball as well as off the ball, I wouldn't be questioning it. Because after seeing him getting pushed around a little bit last week, I'd be very careful in this one. And I'd unleash him in the second half where he can absolutely hurt teams. But yeah, that's what I'm going there. And obviously the mid-front three, it picks itself. Salah, Ekitike, Gakpo. Or Alexander Isak if he's available. I'll say that quietly, Newcastle. I'll say that quietly, Newcastle fans. Arsenal may win the FA Cup or League Cup, but won't win the Premier League or Champions League. I think they've got a better chance of Champions League, to be honest. If we have to play Sob at right back, we should go 4-4-2. Who would you play up front, Jennifer? If we went 4-4-2, who would you play up front? Would it be? I've been intrigued to actually see what you mean by 4-4-2 there. You could possibly play. I wonder if I said it this before the transfer, before the transfer, before the season started. We did that formation stream, didn't we? And I said a 3-4-3 would work if we got Gehi. I wonder if there's a possibility of a 3-4-3 with Leone going back there. Leone, Van Dijk, Kanate, and then your width is Szoboszlai, Kerkez, and your two midfielders of Gravenberch and McAllister, and then Wirtz and Salah behind as like inside forwards behind Ekitike. That's the only thing I can possibly see working. But I said that formation when if we bought Gehi, we could actually play a formation. Be an interesting one. But Pete said the other night, didn't I'll say load of mag NUFC, Pete Davey came on the other night, if you watched that. He said that Newcastle might play 3-5-2, which would be interesting because they want to shut out Liverpool. And he said it worked against Chelsea, worked against Arsenal. So it'd be interesting if they did play that themselves. And yeah, what formation would you play? Mo and Ekitike said, Jennifer. Who would you have on the wings? So obviously Sobos at right back. Who would you have at right mid and left mid? Because we ain't got Frimpong and you played Salah up front and we ain't got Bradley. Who would you play on the right mid? Unless you put Elliott there, but I don't think that would work personally. So yeah, I'm just going to go through before I do go. I'm just going to go through obviously this weekend's fixtures and give my predictions. I said, I will be doing a proper Premier League predictions stream going forward in the season, but when I've got a few things next couple of weeks, so I won't be able to, might not have the time to do it as quick. But I will be doing the proper Premier League predictions like I did last season. If anyone was here last season, because it seems like we've got way more subscribers, way more people watching now than last season. But I did do Premier League predictions. I do enjoy doing it. So tonight's game, West Ham against Chelsea. West Ham are in all sorts of bother right now, but I think at home against Chelsea, they can get something. Do I think they get something? No. I think it's going to be a good game tonight, and I'm going to go 2-1 to Chelsea tonight for my prediction. I think having Chelsea not scored last week, I think they need to really push tonight to get a win. They should have won last week against Palace at home. They've got to push tonight to get a win. I think they'll really push tonight, and I think Cole Palmer will not like how he had like 4 or 5 shots last week and didn't score. I think he'll score tonight. John W. Henry in the chat. Welcome in my G. John W. Henry, thank you this season for your amazing wallet that you left in our tour bus, in our parade bus. Thank you. We did find it. We did hand it in, but we've not seen it since. Frimpong and Kirkers would be perfect for 3-4-3. John W. Henry, if you watch back on our stream that we did when we did the formations, I said they would be perfect on a 3-4-3 as well, my friend. I said, whilst we've got them, if we got a Gehi, it would actually work. I won't say I'd still play 4-2-3-1, but it's a chance to play a 3-4-3 in certain games or in certain situations. There's a chance there. And there is a chance, technically, with Leone now. If Leone goes back into a 3-4-3. But also, instead of Frimpong on the right mid, I'd put Szoboszlai there on Monday, if that was the case. But yeah, going on to tomorrow's game, Man City against Tottenham in their half-12 kickoff. You know what? This game always excites me when I'm in a title race with Manchester City because Tottenham always somehow, I don't know how they do it, they always seem to get a result against Man City. especially when title races with them. They are one of the bogey teams for Man City. Them and Crystal Palace are big bogey teams for Man City. Do I think they're going to get something out of Tottenham? Out of Man City tomorrow? No. I think Tottenham looked good last week. Richarlison's got 2 goals, but Man City looked very, very good last week. Reinder's unbelievable. Cherky came on and was brilliant. Haaland back to his goal-scoring best. I can't see Tottenham going to Man City and getting anything, if I'm honest. I'm going to go 3-1 Man City in that game. 3-1 to Man City in that game. Bournemouth Wolves. Bournemouth very good against us. Wolves poor against Man City. I can't see nothing but a Bournemouth win, if I'm honest. Especially if they play like they did against us. 2-0 to Bournemouth. Brentford against Villa. I think Brentford are in all sorts of trouble this season. They can't defend as it is, but they're losing the attackers as well at this point. Brentford, Villa. I think Villa go and beat them 2-0. I think they'll go beat them 2-0 tomorrow. Burnley Sunderland, very interesting game. Obviously, 2 promoted teams. I think Sunderland started well last week, obviously. Burnley, and they're very unknown to Burnley, but I'm still going to go 2-2 draw in that one. I think Sunderland will get something. Arsenal Leeds, although Leeds did start fantastically and they absolutely battered Everton, despite even relying on a penalty that shouldn't have been a penalty for me. I still think they absolutely battered Everton. But going to Arsenal's a different kettle of fish for Leeds. I think Arsenal win that tomorrow. 5:30 kickoff, which is good. Another one on TV, so I'm excited to watch that one as well. I'm going to go 3-0 to Arsenal. I think it'll be convincing. I do. And I think Gyökeres actually scores as well. You better do. He's in my dream team. Palace against Nottingham Forest on Sunday. That is a good game. That's a good game. That's a very, very interesting game at all. As it gets. Nottingham Forest is a very good team. They were very good against Brentford. Then again, Brentford are poor, but I thought they were better than what people expected them to be. Palace, very resilient. I think Palace win that, though. 2-1 to Palace. Everton, Brighton. I thought Everton was supposed to be changed this season. I thought they were supposed to be different this season. I think they'll be good at home. I want to go 2-1 to Everton on that. I do think Everton will be good at home. Yeah, I think they won 2-1. It's their first time they're home ground, isn't it, in the Premier League? So that's going to be interesting. Fulham, Man United. Every time Man United play Fulham, I don't know if it's just me remembers this. Every time Man United go to Fulham, they struggle massively. I can't think what they did last season. I was 1 second. So I'm going to have a look what they did against each other last season. I'm sure they struggled constantly when they were to Fulham. So they beat them last season, didn't they? They got a good win away to them. But they do usually struggle. And it is a close game. It's always 1 goal in it. Yeah, it's always 1 goal in. Every time they've played Fulham, even at home and away, they've always been 1 goal in it. Fulham beat them 2 seasons ago away. But it's always been 1 goal. So it's always a struggle with that game. Man United look good against Arsenal. I can't stand them, but they look good against Arsenal. Both teams will score. I think I'm going to go 2-1 Man United. I do think 2-1 Man United. 2-0 Brighton, said Adam. 2-0 Brighton. Fair play to you. I will not give my prediction on. In fact, you know what? I'll give my prediction on Liverpool. I'm going to go 2-2. I'm going to agree what Pete said the night. I think it'd be 2-2. But I will go more in depth on Sunday night in the match preview. So make sure you do join us for that. And also join us tomorrow as well. We will be live tomorrow night. Hopefully, I might get something out in the morning as well. I'm just waiting on Hooks. I'm trying to see if Hooks is free. Hooks says he might be free this weekend. So hopefully, he'll be back on. Myself and Hooks have a lot to talk about. So make sure you do. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, get subscribed. What you've been doing, subscribe to the channel. Notification bells on as well, because it'll tell you when we are live. It tells you also when something has been uploaded as well. So we'll get more things uploaded this weekend. Thank you for watching. Make sure you hit that like button on the video as well. Speak to you all tomorrow and have a great rest of the night.